All right, we're here as the Lost Rider Podcast. Good morning and welcome back to the second half of this week's News from the Camp House. Sitting here with Michael Scherer with Fishing's Future. Now, I said earlier, Michael has friends in Shaw's Bend, and he asked me if I knew Harvey Painish and the Painish family, and I said, well, of course I do. And that's what it's all friends. He knows everybody. So, all right. Michael, tell me, this Fishing's Future, this program that you're working with, you get all these thousands of school kids out there fishing, all their families, everybody. What's coming up? What's the future look like for these programs?
Oh my gosh, the future, you know the old saying, the future is so bright, I got to get better sunglasses, and that's why we go with Flying Fisherman sunglasses, because they're the best sunglasses I've ever put on my face. So the future for Fishing's Future, we have a new executive director, Tom Lang. He's been on our board for over 10 years. We have a lot of great things coming up, a lot of great things that we can't talk about yet because there's still some things that we have to put together. There's some, how we're going to call this, what we're going to do this, make sure it's not something that's out there already. We want to be the first of the first. Fishing's Future is the front leader of angler education, and we want to continue to be the front leader. We have a new thing. We want to do $1 million participants a year. How does that look? How does somebody do 1 million participants a year? Well, we had talked about this early. You need a lot of people. You need to grow. So there's a lot of ideas, and I'm hoping by that June timeframe, I'll be able to talk about that. But for me, I took a phone call the other day from Kelly Jordan, the chairman of the Texas Freshwater Hall of Fame chairman. And he says, "Oh, well, hey, Kelly, what's up?" He goes, "Well, Michael, I'm getting ready to change your life. I'm going to change your evening. And you've just been unanimously, is that, I guess that's right. That's a tough word for a Texan to talk about.
That means everybody.
That means everybody. I'm going to be put into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame in Athens, Texas, in October 9th. Get to be on the wall with all my heroes. A lot of these people on that wall, like Gary Klein and Wally Marshall, and our founder of Fishing's Future, Shane Wilson's on that wall. Okay. And they just put, I think their name was Ann Wilson and Rick Klum, were just inducted last year. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have much words. I'm a man of, I talk a lot sometimes. Herman, you know that. I talk a lot. But there was probably more tears coming out of my eyes than words coming out of my mouth. Because, again, people like you and me, it's not about me. It's not about, we don't look for that. But I was starting to think, oh, my gosh, somebody recognized what I was doing along with Fishing's Future and what we were doing. And I got voted in, and I'm more. I tell you, Herman, I had to go look up the word honor. How do you talk about yourself? And I joked with my wife. I says, how many times do you talk about yourself? Okay, have you ever thought about that? How many times you think about yourself? So my wife and I got together and says, okay, you talk about yourself during an interview when you're going for a job. You might talk about yourself when you got an award or sometime, which was this, and the other one's when you're dead. Somebody else is talking about you. So I'm deeply honored, but I wish they would call the Hall of Fame the Hall of Family, because my family, all my students, everybody I caught a fish with, 40, 50,000 people, they're going to go on that wall with a lot of great people, my mentors, people that I grew up watching, how I built who I am today in the angler education world. to make those 4 stand. I think we talked about that earlier about to learn to fish. That's my presentation when I talk to anybody is those 4 things. But I am truly honored to be put into the Freshwater Hall of Fame in October 9th in Athens, Texas at the Freshwater Fishery Center. And they asked me the question, it goes, well, if you were to put in words, how does it feel? Numbing. I need to do more now. Oh my gosh. I'm being put up there with people that are still doing great work, great stewards of this environment and what we do in this fishing industry. Passion is blinding for me. I don't like the word no. Mm-hmm. So, I'm never blinded, but passion blinding can be what am I getting back? It's not, but again, it's not about that. It's not about what I'm going to get back from somebody else's. I want to get those people fishing. But we talked about in the other podcast earlier about kissing fish. If there's any reward, there's 2 things. You're getting that kiss from that fish, you got to get that kiss in. But the biggest reward comes on a Sunday afternoon is when I get my paycheck. It's when families that I have educated send me pictures. It's not I caught a fish. It's we caught a fish together. Mm-hmm. Because again, fishing is a cure of everything. Yeah. It's how you do it. But that's a lot of stuff coming up. And maybe next year when we're doing this again, I'll be talking with you and then I can say, hey, we did it. June was amazing. We did this and that and this and that. But again, I think I talked about it earlier. We just got the Fish American Foundation, ASA, are powered by the ASA, American Sports Fishing Association, the one that we call around the ambassador program. So we're very excited about that future as well.
All right. Now, you said earlier you primarily go to the same places. You said you had a couple of lakes that were stocked up well, so that where you take the kids.
Well,
families.
The families and the kids we take if we're in Katy ISD, if we're doing those for Katy ISD, we go to the Kenneth D. Wilch Outdoor Learning Center. Mm-hmm. Fishing's Future helps to put fish in there. We have fundraisers to do that, to get fish back in there. Those are big fish. We have something, Larry the Legend. I think Larry the Legend was around 39 inches. I mean, when a 3rd or a 5th grader pulls Larry the Legend, we're not doing side bets by any means, but we're watching to see if Larry's going to pull that little one in because Larry is a big fish. Yeah. We were fishing there when Larry was in the tank and everybody was looking at Larry. They're measuring Larry the Legend. And then we looked over to our left and another pole was bit just as bad. And we had to come up with a new name for that one. So, Larry the Legend's sister, La Vida. It's all about the fun. It's all about putting your passion out there because if it's boring, who's going to remember a boring trip? We were talking during the commercial break, all the fun things during hunting trips. And, I'm not a guide, but, if I'm teaching somebody how to fish, they're holding the rod and reel and I can tell them everything. Oh yeah, I hit that twig over there, but you put that rod in my hand, I can't hit that twig. So, But we also take them into our CFLs, community fishing lakes. Texas Parks and Wildlife has 2 big programs, one during the summer where they stock channel catfish in various community fishing lakes are under what they call the neighborhood fishing program. They also start around Thanksgiving with rainbow trout. Right. So they put rainbow trout in various water. Texas Parks and Wildlife is all about put and take industry. We take. Mm-hmm. But we try to introduce our families to many of these. So if we're not a one and done type. Right, when we do family fish camps, we might invite them to another reservoir. But again, we're bank fishermen or dock fishermen. We're not putting these people on boats because most people that are beginning fishermen are not going to go out and buy a boat. They may buy a kayak. So we can show them in state parks where they can rent kayaks. There's other organizations that rent kayaks. But then again, we want to be sure that we're also teaching boater safety.
Right.
We had a young lady back in 2015. She had quite a few kids, single mother. She was one of our first things with Recreation Boating and Fishing Foundation called Vamos a Pescar. My Spanish is not that good, but that's Let's Go Fishing.
Yeah.
During that event, after it was over for the 1 year in 2015, she writes me back and says, Michael, you and your group got me to where I am with my family now. We bought a boat. We bought a boat.
Okay.
And so she understood life jackets. She understood what she needed to do. Getting that boater's education. Texas Parks and Wildlife does a great boater's education class. They also do the hunter's education class. But again, those are the rewards of all this, getting these people out there fishing in various locations, letting them understand the water. Again, number one, to learn to fish is to learn the fish.
Right. All right. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Herm, thank you. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be around you and your little dog there. It's like, and your little dog too. Yeah, he's looking at me over there, and it's like, I'm going to bite your nose off. But anyway, Herman, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you've done in your past. I'm truly a fan of you.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
But thank you for the day. Thank you for this time.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed it this morning. Michael Scherer with Future Fishing, taking all these kids out. It's great, taking families out. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it, learned a little bit. You can always get a hold of us for more questions. Now, go enjoy the weekend. Remember, this edition was also brought to us by Shaw's Bend Social Club, country club folks, country club folks who don't have a country club. All right, now go have fun, be safe, have a great weekend, and y'all just remember pretty much any day is a good day to be out in the woods.